Welcome to the family with a guy who's completely nuts because he can't get off his exercise bike. The hell's wrong with you?
I have no idea. My mother wants to know also. She's been wondering that for over 70 years. What is wrong with that boy?
At this point, I
And
don't think any answers are coming.
he was late. He was late to the party. His father was upset because he couldn't get an extra year of tax deductibility for
Oh, yeah?
for a child because
Yep.
he was 3 weeks late.
Uh-oh.
Instead of coming in 1950, he came in 1951. He was late. He's still late.
was a
Doesn't
good
show
year,
up
though.
on time. I
Great
said, "Well, there you go, Mom. It was born part of the DNA that you gave me."
That's it. I just looked at the screen, and if you start from the top right, we start with me, and then we go down to Andy, and then we go over to Josh, and it's Christmas time with the green, green, and red.
Yeah.
And then you go north to the let's have a Hamm's beer at Christmas time.
There we go.
What can I say?
What can I say?
Isn't
There's no
Hamm's the
question.
beer that made St. Paul famous?
No. Pabst is the beer that made Milwaukee famous. Hamm's is the beer refreshing.
It is
Hams.
the beer refreshing.
Herms.
But they've got a big, or they used to have a big bottling plant in St. Paul.
That's where
They
it
did.
started. Yep.
Yep.
That's Theodore Hamm lived down there in St. Paul. That's where he started from.
On
Indeed, he
West
did.
on West 7th, you still can get
Yep.
water from there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And we
No
were down
doubt
on
about
West 7th last night. The SO and I were in the beautiful arena watching the Wild take down the San Jose Sharks.
Fun game.
Big crowd.
That place is always packed. It's so much fun to watch hockey there.
Oh my goodness.
It is all true. I got to get this off my mind, or it'll be stuck in my head all day long because you were talking about, country and all that stuff. I still, to this day, Jerry Lee Lewis' favorite song. My favorite song by Jerry Lee Lewis. What made Milwaukee famous has made a loser out of me.
Yes,
What
sir.
God, what a great song! What a great song!
Yep. I knew where you were going the minute you said Jerry
Oh
Lee
my
Lewis.
goodness.
Yes, exactly. It is all true, no question about
Well,
it.
the funny thing is Dad used to deliver Hamm's beer
Oh, really?
years and years and years ago. I've got a picture of him back in the early 60s climbing into a car with a Hamm's beer in his hand.
Ooh.
It's just that was his brand, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden it's come full circle, and now it's my brand too.
The Ham's bear and the Ham's beer. Nothing
Yep.
wrong with it. There's no question about it. Lou Gossett Jr. has died, which I'm very sad about. I thought he was a terrific actor. He was,
Lou
77 years old? Yeah, Lou
Keep
Gossett
going.
Jr.
Keep going.
He's
Add
older than
another
70?
10.
Yeah,
He
Add
was
another
87.
10 years.
87.
Oh, he was 87.
You
Yep.
see, there it was when
Oh, okay, yeah.
hold on, we were on. Oh, I gotta think of. It might have been Fancy Ray,
I loved Fancy Ray.
and
Great
and
guy.
Fancy Ray said, "No, it's just my color that makes me look so young."
That's what he thought. Yep.
And I'm
Absolutely
thinking,
true.
well, yeah, Fancy Ray's got to be. He could be older than you and I, Tom, but he looks much younger,
Oh,
You'll
God,
never
he,
know.
he does look young. You're right about that.
and he's
He
got a
looks
very
quite
young
young.
attitude.
It's true. So what's the latest in the world? Anything we should know about before the world collapses or anything?
The world collapses. The world is not going to collapse. It might
Good.
seem that way.
Good.
Heck, the world is seen to be collapsing. Hey, back when we were in high school, for gosh sakes, Tom, the world was getting ready to collapse with political problems, a war in Southeast Asia, another war that took place in the Middle East, protests on a constant basis,
Mhm.
and that was ongoing, and the world was coming to an end. No, the world is not coming to an end. The world didn't end in 1966, 67, or 68. And then, man, there were massive protests in Chicago prior to the 68 Democratic Convention. So lot going on, and that's what the papers were predicting, and they're predicting end of the world now, but it's worse today because of we'll say social media. But I do not think the world is ending. Yes, we've got some problems on a geopolitical basis, maybe a little bit on an economic basis, but, and I will say, but today we had some economic indicators that came out, even though the stock market is closed today for a Good Friday holiday.
Oh yeah, Good Friday. Yep.
Okay, now why is the market closed? Now this is, forgive me for being, or some might say, well, that's a racist comment you're making, but forgive me for this. Okay, why is the New York Stock Exchange closed for Good Friday? It's not closed for Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur. Now, I bring that up because there are an awful lot of people that think Jews control the world. They control the banks. They control the media. You name it. Well, they control the money. Well, the Jews didn't control the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. That was the Italians controlled the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh.
And most Italians are Catholic. Good Friday is a big time holiday.
Yep.
So if the traders were not going to show up to work because they were in church, better to close the stock market for the Easter recess. But so the market is closed today, but the economic numbers coming from Washington don't stop. And the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, the PCE, or Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, came out today. I did not know that this was a preferred index or preferred statistic until 2 years ago when the Fed started raising interest rates and looking at inflation. I thought, well, you just look at the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is a measure of inflation, or the Producer Price Index, another measure of what producers are paying for goods and then for manufacture of goods. But the personal consumption indicator, well, that's what people are actually spending money on. And that indicator was up 0.3%, which was in line for estimates. And the revisions for January were not revised upward. Part of this indicator was higher for the month of February because gasoline prices were up. You didn't know it, so people were spending money on gasoline. And if you look at the price of oil, that has been slowly climbing, closing yesterday at $82 a barrel for West Texas Intermediate crude. But other numbers from the PCE indicator were slightly down. Wages were slightly down. Well, that's not to me a good sign. But no. Personal spending was up. Personal spending was up, and that was even before Amazon's spring sale, which took place just a few weeks ago.
Right.
I don't know whether that's a record or not, but as it was the first time that Amazon did a spring sale. And of course, if Amazon was doing a spring sale, who else was doing it? Walmart and Target Boutique.
Oh, yeah.
But both of those numbers will probably show up when Walmart, Target, and probably Costco will throw those numbers in. And Amazon report their earnings numbers at the end of April, with the first quarter now being complete. The stock indices had their best start to a year since 2019, and 2019 was a good year overall for my clients. But this year, because of our large position in my favorite fruit company, Apple, we're behind the S&P index. Apple, of course, has faced a lot of headline risk, what with concerns about China sales. And the comparison there is very difficult because the beginning of 2023, China sales jumped because of the COVID shutdowns in China at the end of 2022. But nobody bothers to mention that fact in reporting about Apple's sales. Also, the European Union, with their new direct marketing act aimed at Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, and ByteDance, also known as TikTok, that they have to share their platforms freely with their competitors. And then, of course, there's the other headline risk with the Department of Justice and 17 attorney generals joining in to say that Apple harms consumers and harms its competitors. But I think it's more Apple harms its competitors because Apple has a moat around their business. Horror upon horrors. That's like Warren Buffett, one of the all-time great investors and one of the world's richest individuals of Berkshire Hathaway, said when looking at investments and looking at whether it's stocks or businesses, look at the business that has a moat around it, either through price, which would put in, we'll say, Walmart and Target, or not Walmart, and Walmart and Costco, not Walmart and Target, Walmart and Costco, or has a brand that makes it difficult for others, like American Express, Coca-Cola, or even privately held See's Candy. Apple's another business that has a moat that people keep wanting to use their product, even though they pay more for the product than competitors. People like the product on a worldwide basis. Mm-hmm. And part of the justice's suit is Apple charges too much. Apple's response is, well, yeah, we don't sell as many units as our competitors from Samsung and Google in the United States, but we charge more, so our revenue is higher. Now, that's very interesting. You're paying up to get an Apple iPhone when you'll have a choice of other products available for smartphone use. Why do people like the iPhone or the other products that go along with it? Well, I like it because of its security. It does have a very nice camera. They store all my nice stuff and pictures up in the cloud. It's easy, very easy to use, and I can pair my iWatch. Now, this is another part of the suit that Apple makes it difficult for competing smartwatches to integrate with the iPhone. Well, Samsung does the same thing. I can't use my iWatch on a Samsung phone. And I'm not sure that I'd able to use my iWatch on or have it download to a Microsoft product either. So sorry. Sorry, government. And then
Sorry,
lastly,
Charlie.
lastly, I could probably throw in that this suit coming in March, just a few months before the election, seems to coincide. Well, hold there it is. It's an election year. The suit, which could have been filed last year, the year before,
Right.
given the same set of facts, was filed in March before the election. Could that be that the Justice Department is being a little political here?
No.
Geez. And now I know that the Justice Department brought up the Microsoft suit and how Apple benefited from the government going after Microsoft. And I'm thinking, I don't think so. You know, I don't know how you link selling computers, which Apple back in 2000 had a 6% share of the PC market, and didn't start really making a lot of money until several years after the iPhone came out in 2007. The government suit against Microsoft was in 2000, March of 2000. March of 2000. That was just a few months before an election.
Yep.
How do you like that? How do you like that?
So what you're telling me is it all boils down to political BS.
Well, in the case of Apple suit, if you actually read what the Justice Department and 17 attorneys general, and I know that some of them, the attorneys general, say, well, it's a bipartisan effort. And I'm trying to look at the list of states, trying to find a Republican attorney general or a Republican governor in that list of 17 states,
Right.
which include New Jersey, New York, California, Illinois,
Colorado.
Colorado, Minnesota.
Yep.
Well, I'm not trying to be political, but
But
if you read this suit and some of the claims, you gotta wonder. Harms consumers. Harms consumers. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm going to just here. I'm just going to switch gears a little bit because you got me on a little. You got me going here.
uh-oh. Sorry.
You got me going on politics. Here's just something I saw from the St. Paul paper. I think this was this morning. The St. Paul Pioneer Press. Graduation rates at St. Paul schools down.
Way down.
68.3%.
Jeez, that's a big number.
For being in for 4 years, which was down significantly. Now, St. Paul claims that those figures did not include people who graduated after summer school following their senior year. So a kid could walk down the aisle in graduation, head for the go to the parties, etc., but still had to come back, finish summer school before they could get their piece of paper.
Yep.
What was the blame on? Why the low graduation rate?
COVID.
The COVID shutdown.
Yep.
Now, weren't we told that we had to shut down the schools to stop the spread? And weren't we told that it wouldn't harm students or anybody else with this shutdown? Weren't we told that?
Yep. We were.
Oh. And if you bothered back then to question that wisdom, you were shot down because you weren't following
The science.
The science. So now the science says, shouldn't have done that. Wouldn't have. There was no harm to kids. Kids should have been in school.
Yep.
Duh.
I should have. It's very true. Now, I have to ask you guys a question. And Andy, I want to run this by you specifically.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to ask Josh first. Did anyone in the world have a better financial day yesterday than Glenn Taylor?
Oh my gosh.
Glenn?
Glenn Taylor. That
You
was
right?
something else I was going to bring up later. Glenn Taylor. Nope, we're sorry, Alex. Sorry, Mark Laurie. Tough shit. You missed the deadline, which was Wednesday night, to pay me $600 million so that you could have 80% control of the T-Wolves. I'm
correct.
not doing it. Heck, I paid $94 million.
I thought it was 78 million
Hold on, let me check my number here.
because I was told you paid 78 million for the team all those years ago.
94 million in
94
94.
million. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So 94. All right.
94 and 94.
Okay, and now the team, ready for this one? They're the 28th most valuable NBA franchise, worth 2.94 B with a B.
How insane.
That's in Tom and Andy B. Bernard.
Yeah. Exactly.
Andy Billions, Tom Billions,
But Josh, let me ask you
Glenn
a question.
Taylor Billions.
You're going to buy a team for I think you're going to buy it for 1.3 billion. Is that correct?
Yes.
Something like that. 1.3 billion. So you're going to buy 80% of the team that he paid 94 million for. You're
Right.
going to buy it for 1.3 billion. You missed the date. Therefore, he tells you to get lost. Now you cannot buy the team that's worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.5 to $3.5 billion.
Now, if my math works out,
God.
now I could be screwed here. I think he paid 94 mil. This is worth 2.94 billion. And I think my math works out to about 31 times his money.
Yep.
I couldn't mix up with the zeros because I'm working with my both the abacus and my slide rule. I always mess up the zeros.
Here we go.
That and you're on the bike.
That too. So my question is, okay, so the guy, there's the deadline and
Yes.
the buyers missed it and the guy told him to get lost. But he's 82 years old. There's a natural deadline coming up.
Yeah.
So maybe sell while you still can. is my thought. Well then.
Well,
he's-
how about this? He's got a family. Now, oh, and by the way, Rodriguez and Laurie still own, a chunk of the team. They just missed the final deadline to buy
Right.
Mm-hmm.
the balance of what they were going to buy. But should Glenn Taylor move to the large arena in the sky, he can pass that on to his heirs, and they get, under current law, a stepped up basis on that. So they probably would not have to pay a lot of capital gains taxes on that, which would be a very good estate planning tool.
Jeez.
Now, he might have to pay, something there, an inheritance tax, so he could cover that with, buying some life insurance on himself or some other insurance on the team. And I'm sure he's got a very good estate plan to cover that. But then his family would own it, and they could sell the team sometime in the future and pay minimal tax. And of course,
minimal meaning like probably $800 million, but
yeah, a lot less tax, on the gain than if he were to complete the sale today.
I don't understand how you missed the deadline. You've been planning for this, 3 years now, something like that?
Do you
How
think
do
it
you
was-
miss the deadline?
I think it's all BS, Tom.
Do you really?
Well, yeah, that kind of money you set ahead well in advance.
I just to me it just seems like this was all set up, publicity, blah blah blah, just all BS.
So he's
And-
going to make all that money, and they're not going to get any of it. Why would they do
No.
that?
They're
I
still
mean-
getting. They're still a 40% owner.
Well, that's true. Good point. Yeah.
You know, how would you like? You got 40% of a nice number, and if the T Wolves, can do better than the Twins and advance a little bit in the playoffs.
Actually make the playoffs, maybe.
Oh, well, that's a good point. Well, I think they should make the playoffs. Or what, in second place in their division
Yeah.
at this point, and we don't have that much more time to go in the season. So now it's, do they get through the first round of the playoffs? And that would put some more money into the franchise.
God. Unbelievable. I was trying to think of what Bob Short sold the Lakers for again. Because the Lakers are now worth over $5 billion, apparently. $5 billion. I think he sold that team for like $10 million, if I remember correctly. But that was what, 1960, 1958. I don't know. Does anybody know? Andy, would you look up what year Bob Short sold the Lakers? They were the Minneapolis Lakers at the time, but then they became
1960.
so it was 60.
Due
Okay.
to bad attendance, apparently. Well, he moved the team in 1960, but I don't think he sold it at that time.
Oh, he didn't sell it then.
Not until later.
And how much did he get for it later?
That is a good question.
Well,
Did he sell it to Jerry Buss? Is that who it went from Bob Short to Jerry Buss? Is that who it went?
I don't know. I would assume that's probably true because Jerry Buss has owned that team for a long time.
Yeah.
But they don't say how much he sold it for? Because
Purchase.
I had heard he sold it for $10 million and it's now worth like $5 or $6 billion. God.
I'm coming back from the grave just for this. I'm coming back.
For real.
Exactly.
I'm coming back. I want the money.
God. Unbelievable. Bob Short was quite the character. Did you ever know Bob Short at all, Josh?
I actually met, I did not meet him. I met one of his kids. I met his a daughter-in-law who was a pretty good runner.
Oh, okay.
And I met her out while I was out running one day. And one of my good friends who passed away a long time ago, Bernie Wong, he the son of Howard Wong,
Yep.
close friends of Billy Martin.
God.
But Bernie used to take me on running tours of Edina and pointing out houses of prominence.
Really?
And yeah, so there's an area that I really like to run in. Just that backs up onto Interlochen Country Club and right off Interlochen Boulevard. And Bob Short has just a small, I think the parcel's still there, just a small, looks like 10 acres in this place with a nice up on a hill. It looks like it belongs in Lexington, Kentucky. But he lives not too far from the Polad housing complex, which, and I'm not kidding you, it was Bernie said, well, here's Carl's house. Here's Carl's sister's house. This is one of Carl's kids' houses. And I said, geez, does he own all this property? Well, he had to build a house for his kids and his sister. And they all live here. And Carl's house backs up onto Interlochen.
Right. Yep.
We should just call it a compound at that point.
Well, it wasn't enclosed. It wasn't enclosed. Now, Bob Shorts, you could have said, well, it it was, I'm not going to say gated, but you had to go through this very nice gate to get up there, and there were all these nice fencing around. Beautiful house, beautiful houses, but there are a lot of big houses back in that area.
No question. But I remember playing many years. I played there many times. Got a lot of friends. I was never a member there, but I know a lot of people that belong there.
At Interlaken?
At Interlaken, yeah. And apparently, because Carl's house was behind a par three, people used to take a little extra club once in a while.
Oh, you think they were going after the windows?
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe they just miscalculated the yardage.
Just to take a look.
Just there you go. That's
Even
a
with
hell of
all
an
those
area.
trees back there.
Yeah, a lot of trees and everything. But that is a nice house. There's no doubt about that.
Well, all I know is that house was. He had a small house on that lot. He moved that house.
Small house, 5,000 square feet.
Yeah, well, no, it's bigger than that. Then he built a house, and supposedly his wife didn't like how it sat on the lot.
Oh God!
So they blew that up, and then built another house identical that tilted the other way.
Unbelievable.
When you have too much money.
Yes.
But think of all the jobs they created.
Yeah.
Oh, they always bring that up. Look at all the jobs we created.
That is a good point.
A lot of broken windows in that area.
Yeah, what the hell? What are you gonna do? Yeah,
Listen, you could probably have houses also, because there are other houses that not only border Interlaken, there's some houses further back that border Meadowbrook.
Right. Yes.
And people don't. It's not a question of miscalculating, breaking windows over off Meadowbrook. That's just the way the golfers are. Oh, that's a big slice there off the tee.
Whoops.
Whoops.
What are you gonna do? Meadowbrook was the scene of one of my favorite golf scenes ever. I used to play a lot of golf with the bouncer at Moby Dick's downtown Minneapolis, and he and I would go golfing. And there was a group behind us, and they kept. And obviously, after a couple of holes, was intentional. We had nowhere to go, so we had to just wait in the fairway. And these guys decided to hit into us to get us to speed up a little bit. Well, Chuck was his name. Didn't find that to be too funny, and snapped all 14 of the guys' clubs in half. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say Chuck's fists were like this big.
I believe it.
So there's my fist. His was about 2-3 inches big. I mean, his fist was like that.
Oh,
like,
man.
holy Christ.
Now, what you're saying, Tom, is that Chuck made Super Dave look like a minnow. Is that what you're saying?
He was bigger. Super Dave's bigger than he is. But, well, Chuck, like I said, my favorite line of Chuck, Moby Dick's, you're causing trouble, sir. So I'm going to give you an option. You can go out the front door and go home, or you can go out the back door and go to the hospital.
You know, on the job, I've used my size.
Oh, I bet.
Certain things put similarly to that, yes.
Well, you got to use the tools you have.
Well, I'm not running anybody down. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. But it's like, you know what? You got a choice. You get in the back of the car. I'll treat you like a man. We'll cuff you in front. We'll do it nice and easy. Treat you fair and square. Or I get every cop in the county here in like 1 minute.
There you go. I love it.
Your choice.
Now, as a golfer, I got to tell you, it is cool the very first time you tee off on number 1 at Interlaken, because that's where Bobby Jones teed off.
Oh.
I mean, it's really cool just to know that you're standing where he used to stand. Isn't that cool?
Yep.
Yeah. That is cool.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just Minneapolis, St. Paul got a lot of history like that. And by the way, we on the morning show this morning, we made a bet that it's only going to be about another year, maybe 2, before the nut jobs in Minnesota change the name of St. Paul to something, because St. Paul is, I'm sorry, it's just obnoxious. We can't have a city named St. Paul. It's way too Catholic.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they're going to. So I came up with Minneapolis and Schminneapolis. What do you think? Minneapolis, Schminneapolis, whatever. Right?
Yep. Oh, and you're what you were talking about, the towns, you have to take Emily to outing to get to Reamer.
That Emily to outing to get to Reamer. That's exactly what I was trying to come up with, and I forgot.
Oh, you guys, you got nothing. You guys should have been on your way to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, just driving on the Lincoln Highway, US 30, when you've got to go through Blue Ball, Intercourse, and Paradise before you get to Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
I will tell you, Pennsylvania as a state has more goofy names than any other state in America. Intercourse, Pennsylvania. Okay.
I don't know. I still think the worst city name is Truth or Consequences.
New Mexico.
New Mexico, yeah.
Truth or Consequences. They kept the name.
That's true. They did.
That's a long thing to write out.
Yeah,
it is. You have to write that every time you
mail
something. No, although, how often do you mail things these days?
That's true.
Yeah, because you can do the MN, but you can't do the MPLS. You can do the MN part, but not the MPLS part. So you got to write the whole thing out: Truth or Consequences, NM.
Here's a list of weirdest city names in the USA: Hooker, Oklahoma.
Hook 'em horns. No, that's Texas.
Named after
that's
John
Texas.
Hooker Threlkeld, which is a ranch foreman. So the hooker was like, I guess the horns. There's China, Texas.
China, Texas. Absolutely.
Colon, Michigan.
Colon?
Gross.
Oh, Jesus.
Now is Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota's got Winnebago on here.
Yeah, Winnebago.
It's not so much a weird name as it's become weird because Winnebagos are named after the city of Winnebago.
They are down on the southern border of Minnesota. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like it's not that the city's got a weird name; it's that it's associated with things.
No, it's just north of Forest City, Iowa, isn't it? I think that's where it is. It's right down on the border. I know that. No question.
Hold on, there we are. No, I was just starting to think. You brought up Winnebago, and I just wanted to look up the stock and see how the stock was doing.
And
I couldn't do it that quickly.
Oh,
that's just one of the things. You bring up something, and my mind goes right away to the companies.
You're always thinking of the money.
Stock symbols.
Winnebago stock seems to be doing all right.
And you've got Winnebago and Thor and Thor Industries.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some friends in my Hamm's group that are down in Winnebago.
Oh, they live down there?
Yep. They don't like Winnebago?
No. They love Winnebago.
Oh, they're down in Winnebago,
Minnesota.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Guys, this guy has more ham stuff, Tom, than you could imagine.
Oh, really? He's got all the paraphernalia?
He's got all of it. And
really?
All the cans and all the glasses and anything that says Hamm's on it that was original, he's got.
Johnny Carson had one of the greatest lines in the history of television because the police in Los Angeles decided to pick up a bunch of, I don't know, what are they called? I guess they're, those big old giant trucks you drive around in.
18-wheeler?
It's the ones you take on vacation. What the hell are those even called?
Oh, like an RV.
Recreational vehicle?
Yeah, like a Winnebago.
RV, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so an RV. There you go. That's exactly what it is. So he comes on the stage in the Carson show and he goes, good news for the citizens of Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Police Department has produced a number of Winnebagos. They are going to pick up people who are committing crimes and put them all in these big, giant vehicles and take them to jail. But there was one problem. The people of Winnebago didn't like the fact that they were being used to pick up criminals. So instead, City of Los Angeles has changed the name to Bag of Wino.
The other Andy wants to know if you went to the Bird's Nest down in Winnebago.
I have not been to the Bird's Nest. I have been invited, but I just haven't made it to they have a huge ham show down there every summer, and I need to get my butt down there and go, but yeah, I need to go there.
Not a bad place. It's a great place anyway. That drive down through there, through
Yep.
the Winnebago outfit and through Florida City, and go down to Des Moines, Iowa. They used to have a great Italian restaurant there named Fatino's. Fatino's, I don't think it's around anymore, but I used to have to go down there on trips for Capitol Records, just drive all the way down there and call on Des Moines and all over the place. Iowa's got some great spots. I don't think people realize that.
Well,
It's true.
It's that whole trip. Well, anytime you go like down 169 through the river valley down there, it's just gorgeous anyway. So
you are correct. There's no question about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Farthest south I've ever driven is Rochester. So
Well, that's a ways though.
it is a 2-hour drive, but still, it's there's a lot more of the state to the south.
my daughter went to school in Winona,
Oh, she did.
so
Okay.
we'd go down there a couple times, huh? Yep.
There you have it.
Yep.
I spent my entire college career at the University of Minnesota. All
one day.
All 1 hour of it.
I went to how many colleges? Like 4?
Yeah, you went to
Maybe
4 different
5?
ones.
Wow.
Yeah, I jumped around a lot.
You know what's weird about that, though, is Catherine and I didn't even notice that our son went to St. Thomas and our daughter went to St. Catherine's. It's like we never even noticed that. It's like, you realize they went to schools named after their mother and father?
Whoa.
What are you
You're
gonna
already got sainthood?
St.
You
Thomas.
guys, I thought it was just you had the B for billionaire, and that's how you and Catherine got sainted. Oh my goodness!
We're sainted now. We're billionaires and sainted.
Yeah, once you get enough
neither of which
money,
is
it's
true.
automatic canonization.
You just move from venerable to sainthood right away.
Whoa!
Yes, that's exactly right. There's no question about it.
Now somebody's going to say, "Well, is that all you need to do to? You gotta shtup the Pope, and then they give you the saint."
The Pope. Oh,
Easy. Calm down.
Only the Pope's allowed to do that.
I gotta. Where's my rosary beads?
We have
You
to
know, the
sanctify this area now.
First time
Okay.
I ever heard that, I'm on the west end of Plymouth Avenue in North Minneapolis. We're sitting around with my buddy, and his older brother, who was like 18, 19 years old, comes home. And he had a grandfather who was rather elderly, a nice Jewish boy. And what you just basically implied or said, we're sitting there, and I don't think Grandpa knew that the little boys were in the next room and could hear him, because he leans toward his grandson, who's 18 years old, and he goes, "So did you stupper?"
Oh,
Okay, I gotta go home. I gotta get out of here. It's time to go.
oh, that sounds like a Billy Crystal line. That's
Absolutely.
oh my gosh!
The
Well, I
stuff
was
is a
going
great
to
word
say,
anyway.
it reminds me of grumpy old men. Did you mount her?
Did you mount it? That's right. I forgot.
Burgess Meredith.
Oh,
Oh, he's wonderful.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
what a
No
what a great
question.
movie!
You know,
Oh, was
I got-
that a fun movie?
Do you guys find it to be now that the movies in the theaters are not as good as the television? Television is so good now; it's very hard to beat.
We don't watch either.
Oh, you don't watch TV at all, even?
We're just going through finishing House again.
Oh, I loved House.
That
That
went
was a
off the
great
air,
series.
what, 11 years ago? Something like that?
We're not huge TV watchers at our house either.
No.
We'll watch. Cheryl and I will make time to sit down and watch a hockey game when the Wild play.
Mhm.
But other than that, if we're just hanging out, I think we're watching The Man in the High Castle right now.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that was, that's 10 years old almost, 9-10 years old. We don't make a lot of time. If we don't want to watch that, then it's like, well, we shut the TV off or just put it on a music station on the TV and have that on and listen to the music and
right.
do our chatting or whatever the case may be.
A lot of great television, though, man. There's some series now that are the best maybe ever appearing on streaming channels, of course, but
No, it's
it's a different deal.
other than Reacher,
Reacher is phenomenal.
She
That
just
guy.
hates the violence, and I'm like,
What
well, you got to
violence?
understand, it's all BS. So
Yeah. Reacher's terrific. He's about the same size you are, isn't he?
he's a little smaller.
Oh, a little smaller. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, I suppose.
He's got that 3% body fat. Where
Exactly.
me at 30%. You know?
Something like that, anyway.
Yeah, we like that Reacher.
Oh, it's great. It's a
Yeah,
great show.
Are they going to come back with a third?
Yes, they're making the third season.
Man, the first season was dynamite. Second season was super. I mean, I just got a kick out of it.
Yep.
What's better, Dynamite or Super?
Yeah,
We gotta figure it out.
we'll have to figure that out.
We need to do one of
I
those.
was just told you have to use different. You can't use super twice,
Mhm.
so you have to come up with another word that signifies. Oh, this is dynamite.
Well, now-
Dynamite.
If you want
No,
to
boy.
be cool now, what you do is you make a tier list and you put it on YouTube. So a tier list would be like the best is like the S tier, and then below that's A, B, C, D, and so forth.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Well, S tier. What's an S tier?
S tier it comes from Japanese video games. S is like even above A, so it's like the best ones are S. That's their tier,
Really?
and then below that is tier A and tier B and so forth. So if you want to rank things, you got to make a tier list out of it. Put it on YouTube.
Well, speaking of Japanese, baseball season opened up, and we did see probably the best player in the world showed up, and I don't know what Major League Baseball is going to do, given what they did with Pete Rose.
Absolutely. He was kicked out of baseball forever for doing less than Ohtani did.
Yep.
But
Yeah, but he also made a lot less than Ohtani did. So
Oh, you got that right. No doubt about it. That's
Yeah, that was
everybody in the world.
That was towards the end of his career too. He wasn't making baseball billions.
yeah, there's that. It's like once you're not making us money, get out of here.
What are they going to do with that, do you think, Josh? Because they're trying to say that it was his guy that did all the gambling, that he didn't do any of the
There
gambling.
was his interpreter who was taking money from him and then gambling it. That's what I heard.
Right.
well, wait a minute here. The interpreter was paid $500K a year.
Yes.
He gets to sit on the bench. He gets free tickets. They're supposedly very good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to tell me that the interpreter, well, maybe this has been known to happen. The interpreter goes to a bookie and makes some problem bets, and then probably double or triples down on them. Doesn't cover the spread, probably makes several prop bets, and then he has to go begging to Owatani and say, "Hey, I have some problems. Can you come up with $1 million to pay Mr. Cohen over there?"
Why do you go right for Cohen?
Well, I got in trouble the last time I said, go pay Guido. And,
Yeah. Go pay Guido.
And Paul Mark Cuscio came after me, called me all kinds of names. So I'll just use Cohen. That's my.
No one can get mad about that.
Nobody's going to get mad about that. Least of all, my son's dog, who's named Cohen. He's not going to be.
Huh.
Cohen's not going to get mad at me. At least the way Henry and Hooper, our dogs can get mad. But in any case, a lot of this I find incredulous, particularly given, the number of places you can legally place wagers.
Yeah.
Both online, through, we'll say, FanDuel or my favorite, DraftKings. DraftKings, by the way, hit a high or recent high this past week before getting knocked down as the NC2A said, we don't think that you should be offering prop bets on college sports because it might be might put too much pressure on the college athletes. Yep, that's a good one. But in any case, you had yeah, I can just see that. Caitlin Clark is out trying to score points, or Paige Buchner's is trying to score points, and they're worried about prop bets. Yeah, that's really good during the course of the game. I don't think so, but somebody could call me naive with that. I don't think I don't think shaving points has happened for a while. But in any case, you've got DraftKings, you have FanDuel. If you want to be go to the casino, there's sports books at Penn Nationals places of business, and that's through ESPN Bet. You can go to Caesars, MGM Bets, plenty of sports books to go to. Mm-hmm. And to me, Vegas is reasonably close to LA. And if the Dodgers, I think the Dodgers are going to be here this year. If they were here, it's a quick flight from here to Vegas to place your bets.
Yep.
You could leave in the morning, come back before game time.
I just fly back and forth.
So I just don't get it. I really think over time that the league will calm down with Owatani, slap him on the wrist. They've already fired the interpreter. And he'll just say, here are the rules, pal. Just don't be caught with unsavory figures like Arnold Rothstein.
Yeah, there you go. Arnold Rothstein. Haven't heard that name in a while.
How do you like that one?
That's a reference.
There's a reference. And Andy with a B, as in billions, Andy Billions, will go look up Arnold Rothstein and read several books about the guy. Very interesting character.
The King of New York. No question about it.
His glare doesn't make him look like a great person. There's a picture of him in the newspaper, and he's like,
whoa.
Yeah.
A little scary.
Was it a picture with him next to Shoeless Joe?
Shoeless Joe
Jackson. Yep.
That's it. No, not Shoeless Joe Biden, who's, pictured all the time on the beach. There's Shoeless, he's got his sunglasses on, no shoes, on the beach, on the beach, walking behind his Rehoboth Beach White House.
Yes. All right, we got 1 minute left. Who wants to wrap it up?
I guess.
Well, I can wrap it up. I can say we've had a very good first quarter in the stock market. Be prepared for a little bit of a pullback in the coming weeks because people have to pay taxes. So they'll probably be pulling some money from the stock market. And then towards the end of April, beginning of May, they'll get their refund and the money will go back into the market because we've had this little pullback, enabling people to buy good quality stocks at a discount. And I do believe the market will continue to be, I'm not going to say volatile, but we should have a pretty good year overall. Focus is still going to be on AI, artificial intelligence, and on TS, Taylor Swift, which is almost shorthand for people wanting to spend money on experiences and not on underwear.
That makes sense. Andy, are you going to host this show next week?
So the morning show is going to be Phil and Judd until 9.
Yes.
And then I'm going to come in 9 to 9:30.
Okay.
And finish out the morning show. As far as the family goes, I think we're going to do Tuesday because Ralph and Tim will be there.
Yeah.
And we're going to do Friday because Dave and Josh will be there. But the other days, I don't know.
What about Gelfand on Thursday?
Just Gelfand and me? I don't think anyone wants to listen to that.
Why not? A couple of geniuses talking to each other.
Might be a bit of a downer show. I mean, if I can find a third for Thursday, then perhaps. But yeah, Monday and Wednesday I wouldn't count on.
Yeah, I could see that because Mom and Alex are going to be gone. We're
It'll
taking
literally just be me.
We're taking a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old to Disney World for 5 days. What do you think of that call?
I think that is great. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. Just make sure you bring
a lot of money,
a lot of cash.
Tell the
arrow.
You go.
Or make sure that you've got your Apple Wallet filled.
Yes, exactly right. All right, boys, we'll talk to you in a week.
Yeah.
See you.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks. Have a good evening.
Every time I hear the same reminds me how you talking.